The last 2 days, I noticed like I was starting to lose sleep before the exam. Like I was losing sleep. And the night before, I could not sleep at all. Like I slept in 3 different bedrooms, and I had like 1 to 2 hours of sleep. I was just like tossing and turning, and I was asking God, and I was just doing like if you're thinking about the other people, like say maybe you're stuck in a problem, like someone else might be solving by that time. They might have got ahead of you. You don't want any such thoughts coming. Right? You
Yes.
should never want to entertain such thoughts even like during your preparation. And our brain always gives us the kind of thoughts we react to always. If we keep reacting to such thoughts, it will give us more such thoughts. Different, like there were a lot of ambiguous questions, and like your ability to handle pressure was tested this time, I think.
Yes.
And one of the things I learned from the mock test I gave was like learn to prioritize questions. Like if something came that is obviously lengthy or difficult, let's skip it and keep it for later without bothering us. Because like even when those full length test series where I got lesser marks, it was mostly due to missing out on easy questions or making silly mistakes. It was not necessarily due to not being able to solve the hard or lengthy questions. Only your performance on 3 hours actually mattered. Nobody else knows
Yes.
about your preparation. Like people will judge you only on your rank or whatnot, but we know how much we put into it. So being able to handle that pressure is very relevant. When we write the notes, we have to write what we understood from it, maybe some key takeaway. For example, one of the numericals I saw in Exergic was regarding center of pressure and calculating pressure, and that also helped me, clear my doubts on it. So
First of all, congratulations, Srivardhan, for such a great
thank you,
rank
sir.
in GATE 2024. Let us start from where you got to know about GATE. When did you prepare
Okay.
for GATE first?
Yes, sir. So I'm from Kerala, and my bachelor's I did it from NIT Calicut in mechanical engineering. I'm a 2022 pass out. I first got to know about it in my third year. During my third year, I think
Okay.
my father told me that
Okay.
like now you can start writing GATE from third year onwards. I think it was introduced a lot later. So before that, I've never heard of it, and this was during COVID times. So it was
Okay.
online semesters and open book exams. At that time, I got to know about it. So I knew the next year I had placements coming, and I wanted to be in a core company. I did not
Okay.
had no interest in coding companies. So I thought I'll just write it, get an idea of like my level and what GATE exam would be. So without any preparation, I simply went and gave it. And I believe like I did not clear the cutoff that year. It was 2021. Like the plan was, in case I did not get placed, I will go for MTech. So I decided like I will not prepare for any coding companies, just for GATE itself. So that will simultaneously help me prepare for the placements as well. So I got placed by October, but I still gave GATE anyway. I prepared till February and gave it. And then after that, I continued to work there for a year. That is what I did. And last year I resigned and then decided to prepare full time for GATE 2024.
All right. So, how easy or how difficult it was to take the decision to resign, to take the risk and prepare for GATE?
Yeah, it was not an easy decision, but to me it did not it did not make much sense to continue there. I was working as an industrial engineer. Like I had more interest towards design, and I was working in a factory as well. So my initial plans were work for 2 years, gain experience, and then go for my masters, where I prepare simultaneously along with the job for GATE, get a decent score, go for masters is what I thought. But then the job required more time from my side, and I could not find time to prepare for GATE. And it was not really my area of interest as well. So I thought like my time and energy would be better invested here, GATE, because I did prepare during my final year. I prepared well, and like my ME rank was not that great. I had a 1983 all in the rank
Okay.
during 2022, but XC I had a rank of 72. So I had that score. So there was a backup, and that was actually a
Yeah, yeah.
release that I like. Even though I got placed by October, I continued the preparation and I did get decent score. I think that was a big help for me to make that decision, to leave the job
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
It
Yeah,
gave you
and
a sort of confidence that yes, it is possible. It is possible for me to improve
yeah,
upon what I already have.
yeah. And already I prepared so much for GATE. Like to get placed, it's actually a lot easier than cracking an exam like GATE. So I already
Yes.
prepared so much, so why not like complete it, like make the most out of it.
Yeah,
So I thought I
yeah,
will
yeah, yeah.
take the decision to leave there and focus full time on GATE.
All right. So this time, what do you feel you did differently than your previous attempt that resulted in a much better rank than previous attempt?
Okay. Okay. So this time, like one I aimed high, pretty high. Like now I have no job and like I'm focusing full time on this. like 7 8 months I'll be doing nothing else but gate. So there is no
Hmm.
reason why I should aim lesser, right? There is no reason why I should give less effort. If
Yes.
nothing, I'm not doing anything else right now in this time period. So it's only dedicated for an exam. So I thought I'll aim high. First of all, itself I aimed high,
Hmm.
and I focused on syllabus completion because the previous attempt in 2022, like I focused on design subjects mainly. Design and
Hmm.
thermal was my favorite subjects. It was my strong subjects. I had to leave some subjects, like for example, industrial engineering. I did not complete
Hmm.
at that time.
Hmm.
Material science and mathematics also was already partially complete during
Hmm.
2022. So this time I thought I'll complete the whole syllabus. There was no favoring any particular subjects.
Hmm.
I thought of completing the whole syllabus and properly prepare for it. So that
Hmm.
difference in approach was there.
Okay. So last time your syllabus was not completed, but this
Yeah,
time, I'm just summarizing what you told. This time you also ensured that you gave your 100% in terms of time, also you were having it, and
yeah,
then you finished whatever pending syllabus was there.
yeah.
If I
Almost all.
compare,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, please continue.
Yeah, around 95% because I did not go for 100% syllabus completion because some topics need not be that important and it can take a lot more
Yeah.
time. Like, and, to me, I have a habit of taking a long time to study something. Like even solving PYQs also, I take time to learn from it. So this was one thing. Like even towards the end also, even though I was preparing full time for this, I had problems completing the syllabus. So some topics were left out, but there was no subjects that I left completely. So, and
Yeah.
whatever I've completed, I all covered it well. I revised and solved enough PYQs. That is what I focused more on. So around 95% syllabus at least I had completed.
Yeah, what you said actually makes sense because there are last means covering 95-96% of syllabus is actually much preferred approach than trying
Yeah.
to reach that last 2-3%,
Mm.
98,
Yeah.
99, 100%, because the things that can be fit in those 3-4% is a lot more. Matlab,
Yeah.
anything can be
Mm.
asked from these topics. I
Yes.
can list down 10 topics which are possible to be asked in GIT any year,
Yeah.
but they are not asked yet. So if
Yeah.
you will keep focusing on those topics, you will get into a very vicious cycle, very vicious loop.
Huh.
You will keep on reading more and more irrelevant stuff rather than focusing on those last 4%. Better to invest time in these 95%, which are
Yeah.
sure shot going to be there in the syllabus in the exam.
Yeah.
So
Prioritizing, how we manage time is very important.
yes. And from what time did you start writing tests?
Yes, okay. Yeah, yes, sir. So, for a long time, I followed this approach where I complete the syllabus and did some problems. So around by November, I reached a point where I completed most of the subjects. Most of the main subjects were covered. Few were still pending, like machine design, IE. These were still pending, and I had not solved that many PYQs yet. And I thought like solving numericals is the most important thing for GATE. Like
Hmm.
covering the syllabus only the base. You have to solve a lot of numericals. So but by November, I decided I'll set a plan and solve 100 PYQs each day. So I thought like I'll do 40 from maths, so 10 from each section. For example, 10 from calculus, 10 from vector calculus, 10 from numerical methods. Like that, I'll alternatively change each day, and
Hmm.
60 problems from technical. I thought of doing so like five from each topic. For example, engineer mechanics, solid mechanics, theory of machines. So I'll do two 1 mark questions, three 2 mark questions. So I'll just uh, skip between subjects and subjects. So what this helped me to do was that I practiced numericals and I was also able to simultaneously revise everything because it was not just any one subject I was solving numericals on that day, but
Yes.
was covering multiple subjects. And
Hmm.
oftentimes I would get stuck because I covered a lot of subjects, but I could not revise many of them. Like I planned on revising twice or thrice, but that did not
Hmm.
happen because I would take time with learning. Like when I go
Hmm.
through the
Hmm.
notes, I take a lot of time to read and understand, and that was
Hmm.
a habit of mine. So that revision did not happen. So this helped me with revision as well. And anytime I had doubts, I would just take up the
Yes.
notes. So right now it might be a doubt in theory machine. After a while, it might be a doubt in casting or welding. So like I would go through each of it. So this helped me like practice numericals simultaneously. It helped with revision as well. So in
Yes.
November I
Yes.
focused on doing that, and each day I might not reach the target of 100 PYQ because I would not simply solve it and move to the next one. I would like
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
learn from the PYQ as much as possible. Like even if it's a something that I already know, I try to familiarize with it because that is something I
Hmm.
noticed. Like in the exam too, like even if you know a problem, it's about being so comfortable with it that you can right away what to do. Like if you
Yes.
have to pause and think and solve, like such questions should be avoided is what I've understood. So even if it's a familiar PYQ, I would take time and understand it. So And
Yes.
I found that like by the end of November, I wasn't able to hit 3,000 problems, but around 2,500 problems I had solved by that point.
Mm.
And most
Mm.
of the subjects, like parallelly in my remaining time, I completed what of the remaining subjects were. And
Mm.
December is when I gave the first mock test. My first mock test, full like mock test, I gave from Exergic. Exergic had a all India mock test. I think it was December 5th. So that's the
Yes.
first mock test I gave, and I
Mm.
had like marks of 78 out of 100, and rank came to be 14. So that was the very first
Mm.
mock test. So from there, I started focusing on mock test from December onwards.
Yeah, understood. And during this whole time, I also checked that you watched lectures from Exergic Pro. You had the
Yeah.
numerical learning videos. So, what would you recommend students in terms of making numerical notes? That if they are watching some lecture, watching some example, and they are learning from that, what would be the best way to capture that in a way that it can be implemented? Because these are two very different things, right?
Hmm.
Learning, knowing, and then implementing that into numericals. So what's the best way you feel is to capture and implement these learnings?
Okay. So most importantly, when we write the notes, we have to write what we understood from it. Some maybe some key takeaway. For example, one of the numericals I saw in Exergic was like I had confusion regarding like calculating. Say, for example, of liquid flowing through a nozzle. What is
Hmm.
the force exerted by the nozzle on the liquid? So there's also pressure acting on either side of the fluid. There's also the reaction force from the nozzle as well. So I had a little bit of a doubt from it. So one of the key takeaways I got from is that the force exerted by the liquid on nozzle will be negative of the force exerted by the nozzle on the liquid.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and that force balance equation I got. So it's a fundamental, and the same fundamental can be used, say, in the case of turbines as well. Turbine also, when
Yes.
we are calculating the torque, we are taking the reaction force. We are taking the rate of change of momentum happening with the fluid that is coming. So
Hmm.
there is some fundamental that can be used in many different areas. Like
Yes.
might be a nozzle problem that I learned, but the fundamental can be used in many different areas. So what is that core understanding of that? That is something I would write down. And similarly, like another example was center of pressure. This was a concept I had some doubts in, like
Hmm.
even after going to the main note. And there were, I think, quite a few numericals regarding center of pressure and calculating pressure, and that also helped me, clear my doubts on it. So some of
Hmm.
the key takeaways was like the location of center of pressure can change according to the depth. Like even though
Hmm.
centroid position will be fixed, the location of
Yes.
center of pressure will vary as the depth goes further and further
Hmm.
down. How we
Hmm.
can simplify it. So some things that will simplify the whole concept we
Yes.
get from it. That I will note down because that is easier to remember, and it makes the topics feel more simpler and relatable. So such things I will note down rather than the surface level notes.
Understood. So, can I also put it in this way that you try to generalize the learning so that
Ah,
it can be applied to a lot more places other than
yes,
just that topic or that question?
yeah,
Yeah, so that
yes,
is another thing which I have seen across years. Many toppers have done this before. Last year also, I remember there were some toppers who tried to, whatever they are learning, they tried to not only ensure that they are learning for that topic or that question, but if in general they can improve their approach towards those questions.
yeah,
So that also is another thing. You have to remember that it's a skill that you will develop by solving and watching more questions and examples. Whatever you are learning, try to see as overall learning experience. It's not just about that topic. Overall experience should be of important learning. So in this entire part that you told regarding revision, question solving, almost everything you told, but regarding the marks of your test series, how much marks did you used to get? I am asking this again. I always give a disclaimer to students that don't stress about those marks, but still
yeah.
it's a question that many students want to know, that how much toppers get in test series.
Yeah. So early on in the topic quest test and subject quest test, I typically the marks would be around 50 to 60%. This would be the marks.
Hmm.
We can see people, and the rank would need not even be in the top 100. We might see
Hmm.
people like say out of 25, they easily score 20 plus multiple times. We see that.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't take it too seriously because some people can be very strong in any one subject.
Some
Yeah.
topics, yeah,
Yeah. And they might be completely ignoring some other subjects as well. Like, so this does not really
absolutely.
give the idea of how you would perform in the actual exam. Because once
Hmm.
the full length test came, it was a very different story. Like the rank
Hmm.
was very different. So
Yes.
I never tried to like master any one subject. Like previously, like during 2022 approach, I design was my strong subject. I would really focus on design.
Hmm.
Like even when I gave XC, like half the time of the paper I gave for design XCD. I think I scored all the
Hmm.
questions at that time. But
Hmm.
this time there was no such approach. I gave equal importance to every subject. Like because say from a subject that you leave, you might get easy questions. Like it
Yes.
can be solved very quickly, whereas something that you really invested might have a lengthy numerical this time. So
Absolutely.
it doesn't really matter. So marks were typically in the 50 to 60% range, but always my full length test marks rank was better than the subject wise or topic wise test because I had
Yeah.
covered
Yeah.
everything.
Yes. Yes. Acha, in the 3 hours of the exam, how
Mhm.
was your experience? Because you have given GATE 2022, which I also consider like a good set of good questions. So,
Mhm.
how was experience this year different than your 2022 experience?
Okay, so this year I was much better prepared, much more confident regarding preparation. I had covered syllabus and I gave at least I gave 11 mock tests. So I
Hmm.
did not have a close to this level of preparation by that point. And also like
Hmm.
even learning also I believe I got better at learning. I can learn subjects better. Like towards the end,
Hmm.
whenever I learned even topics I had not learned before, I was able to
Hmm.
absorb it pretty fast. So I felt more confident going in to the exam. And I think this time, I think paper was a bit different. Like there were a lot of ambiguous questions, and like your
Hmm.
ability to handle pressure was tested this time, I think.
Yes.
And one of the things I learned from the mock test I gave was like learn to prioritize questions. Like if something came that is obviously lengthy or difficult, let's skip it and keep it for later without bothering us. Because like even when those full length test series where I got lesser marks, it was mostly due to missing out on easy questions or making silly mistakes. It was not
Hmm.
necessarily due to not being able to solve the hard or lengthy questions. So that
Hmm.
is something I learned and something I use. So as soon as I saw a question that did not make sense to me or it was very lengthy, I would just skip it and solve what is doable or something that say I solved partially. And
Hmm.
I'm not sure what the steps to do for this. I'll just keep it for now and come back and solve later. Like one of the questions regarding work done in the thermodynamics. There was a thermodynamics question for that. So where the piston will contract until it reach the stoppers, and
Yes.
then again the gas will undergo some state change. Question was only work done. So work done only happens till it reaches the stoppers. That did not click
Absolutely.
initially. So I thought like I want to see if it goes beyond the stopper or not. Actually, the it will go beyond the stopper if the stopper was not there. That I understood. So I
Hmm.
thought, okay, this was a complicated stopper. I'll come back later. And towards the
Yes.
end, like when I returned, okay, it made sense. Work done is only up until the point of the stopper. So I'll just find the temperature at that point and R with T minus T1, work done answer arrived immediately. But the first time I saw it, it did not click. So it's
Yes.
important. Like if it's lengthy, if it's not making sense, skip it right away. If it made sense but you're stuck, again keep it for later. Return it because when you return, like you will notice something you didn't before, right? So
Absolutely. Yes. These are some
takeaway
of
would be
the, yeah.
yeah, practice enough mock tests, learn to prioritize questions, and don't let it affect you if you had to leave some for now.
Correct. 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 I'll say very practical and useful tips Shivardhan has shared to whosoever is listening and trying to grab. He must have grabbed many actionable points from the things that Shivardhan has shared. Towards the end of this discussion, any final tips you want to share with the GATE aspirants, or any qualities you think GATE aspirants should have or should try to develop in order to
Yeah.
get a top rank?
So, regardless of the style of preparation or the routine you follow, some fundamentals need to be covered. So, for example, completing syllabus, right? At least you don't want to miss out on any easy questions. So, you have to aim for maximum syllabus completion, not 100%, but maximum syllabus completion. Then to solving numericals, solve as many numericals as possible. At least the PYQs that will develop a base, and after that it will be test series, like give mock tests and do not give a mock test as if it's simply a mock test or there is nothing much at stake. Like something I would do is I would try to feel the importance of the exam. I would try to give it as if this is the real exam, so I feel at least a little bit of anxiety before I write a mock
Mm.
test. So I would try to make it as close to the real exam as possible because on the day only your performance on 3 hours actually matters because nobody else knows about your
Yes.
preparation. Like people will judge you only on your rank or whatnot, but we know how much we put into it. So being able to handle that pressure is very relevant. I think a lot of people,
Yes.
in order to make the full use of mock test, you have to give it like it matters. So I would only attempt it, say at the pace I would attempt in the actual exam. I would give the importance to questions. I would give it in the actual exam. I would check it as many times as I would check it in the actual exam. So in that attitude, I gave the mock test as well.
Mm.
So So the last point would be to handle pressure, handle that anxiety, like prepare for it in advance, so that can come. And even in the last 2 days, I noticed like I was starting to lose sleep before the exam. Like not fear, like I've never been more prepared for an exam. And I was losing sleep. And the night before, I could not sleep at all. Like I slept in 3 different bedrooms, and I had like 1 to 2 hours of sleep. I was just like tossing and turning, and I was asking God, like, why? Like the entire year I prepared. Right now in the last moment, because we know how important sleep is,
Yes,
right?
it happens.
So I wanted perfect sleep, and I was not sleeping at all. At that point, one of the things I did was I detached from it. I detached from the result. Like, okay, let
Yeah,
it be anything.
right.
Like, I know how much I prepared. Because, so you will also understand like how much it takes to prepare for an
Yeah,
exam like this. So like, whatever the result comes, I welcome it. I'm going to write this. I will write this. Right. Like,
yeah,
believe in your effort. Like, say, whatever the result comes, like welcome it and just
yes,
go with it. Like, because if you are too
right.
concerned with no, if you are too optimistic, we expect something a very optimistic result. Everything has to
Mm.
go perfectly. I should do better than my mock test. This was what I was imagining before, but like I realized like I was putting a lot of pressure on me.
Yes,
Thought like based on my preparation, I will get the result. I welcome it. So detach and go.
right,
This will really
right.
help handle that pressure. And don't worry about how someone else is doing. Like if you're thinking about the other people, like say
Mm.
maybe you're stuck in a problem, like someone else might be solving by that time. They might have got ahead of you. You don't want any such thoughts coming. Right? You should
Yes,
never want to entertain such thoughts even like during your preparation. And our brain always gives us the kind of thoughts we react to always. If we keep reacting to such thoughts, it will give us more such thoughts. So practice like being mindful on the problems and detaching from itself. This will really help. I think that has helped me to
right.
secure a better rank this time.
Right, right, right. Very, very good tips. I'd say Srivardhan has given regarding how to attempt test, what strategy, what mindset to keep, how to ensure pressure does not affect you, and how you can continue giving your best despite all the pressure and the competition. So it was very nice talking to you, Srivardhan, and I'm sure
Thank you,
those
sir.
who are listening will also learn a lot from this. I wish you all the best for your future professional career ahead, and in any case of help, I'm always here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.